If you're looking to gain more horsepower and torque out of your 2024 Mustang GT, then you need to pick up the K&N Typhoon intake system. After installing this kit onto your Mustang, you're looking at upwards of 23 horsepower and almost 18 foot-pounds of torque. Now, I know what you're thinking, there's no way that's possible without a tune. Well, these cars are not tunable yet, and that is dyno proven without any tuned or calibration. Now, besides your performance gain, you're also going to have an easier time with maintenance. Instead of throwing out an air filter every couple of thousand miles, we're now going to have the K&N oiled air filter, so that way all we have to do is take the filter out, clean it with K&N products, and you're good to go. Now, if you don't know the difference between an oiled and a dry filter, we have a video on our channel explaining the differences between the two. Now, besides both of those things, they're pretty cool, but the other awesome thing about this kit is the fact that when we put this inside the engine bay, it's gonna look absolutely killer and make your Mustang stand out from the rest. And as far as the install, it's not too bad. It's a little time consuming, so let's go ahead and get after it. First thing that we have to do, recommended by K&N, is disconnect the battery. So we're gonna do that. We just gotta take off these clips here. And we're just gonna disconnect the negative terminal. Now go to the driver's side intake and pull off the first breather hose here. You're not gonna be able to see it, but there's a tab right under the hose. You'll push that over towards the front of the car and pull. Now go down to your MAF and disconnect this. Just pull up on the white connector and then pull off. And then you'll have to disconnect the clip here for the wiring harness. Once you're done on the driver's side, do the exact same thing on the passenger side. Now we will remove the 10mm bolt that holds on the airbox on either side. Remove the exact same bolt on the passenger side. Now loosen both hose clamps going to the intakes. Once both of those are loosened, remove them. Before removing the passenger side airbox, you're gonna have to move this fuse over. Just grab a flathead, push out on the tab, pull up, set that off to the side. Then you should be able to get this airbox out. Go ahead and grab the driver's side heat shield and then the piece that's going to actually hold on our air filter. What we're gonna wanna end up doing is connecting these two together. So the air filter is gonna be on the inside of the heat shield. So we're gonna want to install it just like this. And then you have some holes here on the back side. You're just gonna wanna line up the holes there, and inside the kit is going to be some hardware to mount this. Grab your bolt and washer and just thread this in. Once you have both in, you can tighten them down then. Now grab your driver's side factory intake tube and take off the MAF sensor here. Take it out, set it aside. Now take the mass airflow sensor from the factory intake and install it onto your K&N one. And again, we're going to use the K&N hardware. Inside the box, there's going to be 2 of these rubber seals. You're going to want to grab the longer one, cut one part to 25 inches and the other part to 36 inches. I already made my marks off camera, so I'm going to go ahead and cut them. We're now going to take our 25-inch seal and install it on the top of our heat shield here. Make sure you push pretty hard down on the seal so that way everything sets in place and is secure. Now grab the 36-inch piece of seal and wrap it along the bottom side of the heat shield. Now grab the K&N badge and the backing plate and install it onto the heat shield. Take this, snap it on, and it's nice and secured. Now grab the mount and hardware that's in the kit, go to the back side of the heat shield on the second tab, and install this mount. And just hand tighten it for now, and we'll tighten it later in the car. Grab the factory driver's side airbox one more time and pull this rubber grommet off. Then take that grommet and put it in the factory hole. And now we can install our driver's side heat shield. When installing this, put the bottom in first, and then kind of shimmy your way in from there. We'll have the factory bolt location right here on the coolant reservoir, and then that mount we just installed will go into the grommet of the factory hole. Take the 10mm bolt that you originally took out in the beginning, put it back in the exact same spot, just like the factory airbox, and then you can tighten it down. Once we're done with the driver's side, we can start assembling the passenger side. Inside the box is going to be another seal for the passenger side. You're going to make a mark at 24 inches and 32 inches and then cut. We're now going to wrap the top part of the heat shield with the 24-inch side, and then we'll do the bottom with the bigger side. Inside the kit's going to be another rubber piece that we're going to put on this side of the heat shield. There's also going to be some super glue provided, and they want you to use a little bit on the seal so you never have to worry about it falling off. And you don't need a lot. Now that we have that done, we can install it into the car. Just like the driver's side, take the grommet off the factory intake, put it in its hole, and then grab our fuse box and just kind of lay it here next to the car. And now we can put in our heat shield. Again, you're gonna wanna slide the bottom in first to be able to give you enough wiggle room here. As you can see, our fuse box is just laying here. What we can end up doing now is putting it back into its spot, just like that. Now we're gonna pop off the engine cover here, remove the factory hose with the quick disconnect fitting, and let's bring this over to the table. Inside the kit is this longer hose, and we need to remove the factory hose from the fitting so we can install it onto our new hose. You could try pulling this fitting off, but it's on there pretty good. So I'm just gonna end up cutting it because we're not gonna need it again. Simply just install this onto our K&N hose. Now we're gonna install that hose in the same spot we just took it off. Now we're gonna grab both couplers and our clamps, which are provided in the kit, and install them into both air filter housings. Before we go any further, we can reinstall our 10mm bolt that we took out earlier, so that way our passenger heat shield is nice and secured. Now we can put our boots on the throttle bodies. Again, we're using all of the provided couplers and clamps. Now we're gonna put our clamps on the end of our couplers here, and then install our first piece of intake piping. While we're here, we can start connecting everything back together. It's now time to put on our air filters. Once you're done with the air filters, you can reinstall your engine cover, reconnect the battery, and then you're all set. Well, we're all wrapped up the install, and I gotta say, I'm super stoked on the outcome of these intakes. They look absolutely amazing inside the engine bay. And on top of that, we got 18 more horsepower out of it, which I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but when these things aren't tunable and we're talking about NA numbers, that's a good bit. We'll definitely feel that. Now, if you want to end up purchasing these intakes for your 2024 Mustang GT, click the link down below in the description, but it's time to drop a gear and disappear, and we'll catch you on the next one.